Hello everyone, it's Avelinius coming back to Cairn after a short while, and we're going to continue our journey through the mountain of Kami. Last time we left off, we climbed quite a bit, found a couple of things on the way up, and are given now a choice between going to the right. If I recall right, there was some sort of an altar um, or a place for praying right there on the sledge, and also some cave up above. Or we could go down this small path right here to this section that we actually have found a map for that's going to allow us to find easier routes to climb way faster. I think that even though we have this small advantage, I would rather want to first investigate what this side is all about, and maybe we can come back to this section later, or I'm going to see it for myself in some other playthrough that I will do. Yeah, so I think we're quite well rested, and also good on time, so I think we can just carry on. Firstly, starting by investigating this ledge where I think I see a cave. I haven't seen that in the previous episode, so we'll see what that is all about. Firstly, let's investigate this ledge. There's no litter around, so that's good. Seems like not too many people have made it this far up.
Are these animals?
Definitely wolf-like drawings. Some mushrooms, although I'm not sure if I make the right call to pick up everything that I find. Let's see. I'm sad that there is no first person view because the character Ava, which I was mispronouncing actually, I was calling her Ava until I heard the people in the game call her Ava. So Ava is kind of abstracting the way of seeing things. That's alright, I guess. We'll manage. Okay, there's some water, although I'm not quite sure about the quality of this water. Cooling pot. Vamiametin and a tea bag. Okay, I'm going to take this vamiametin to see what that does. Firstly, let's look at the backpack. Maybe let's try to reorganize stuff when we can. A vitamin-based anti-nausea tablet. Good for stomach aches and it gives you a boost. Okay, I see. That's fine. I'm looking around the backpack to see whether I can eat something that's going to fill my stomach a little bit. I can eat this mushroom, but I guess I will preserve it for a cooking session later. So let's leave for now. I hope that I'm not making a wrong call here. Okay, that's all there is to it, seemingly. Nevertheless, a nice little hidden detail. Let's turn off the light and go up. Okay, I can actually see whether climbing here is suitable for me. Plenty of good ledges. Some plant over here that I'm not really certain that it's worth looking for. Yeah, I think the better path is actually to climb through here. Good ledges all around. I think we can safely also climb this crack up to this altar. So let's start with doing so. Yeah, right here. Let's go. I need to remember to use some chalk here because I already have another bag waiting to be collected. But as long as the climb is easy and straightforward, then I won't be doing that. It's not worth to preserve stuff too much, but it's also not good to waste it at any given moment. Okay, cruising up those ledges. Not much happening here. Today I was actually thinking about a topic to talk to you about in regard to climbing, and I was thinking that maybe I can give you a little bit of an insight to what climbing shoes are all about. Although in this game we do not see it, but either way it's a very important piece of climbing gear to have. It's actually when you start the journey with climbing and you want to pick up this as, be that your hobby eventually maybe, but also just the regular usual activity, sport activity that you want to do, then climbing shoes are probably going to be the first buy that you will have. We're actually getting a little bit of rain. I didn't want to place the piton, I wanted to chalk up a little bit. And we're going to move to the left here. I'm gonna push off the rock at the top. Step over. I'm going to find a bit more comfortable position in order to continue talking because I need to focus. Here to the right. Okay. Then we just go up still. Actually, I'd rather move my left leg here and reach to this ledge. Great. I think the rain is slowly dying down, so that's good. Yeah, and when it comes to climbing shoes, essentially what you'll be looking for are these general types of climbing shoes. There's three that I can name, and these aren't like categories that are any sort of official naming standard, I guess, but if you search for those terms that I'm going to give you in a moment, then you'll probably find what I mean and what I'll be talking about. So the first and the most amateur like type of climbing shoes are going to be those sort of flat climbing shoes. They could be technically called like neutral climbing shoes because the way they are designed or constructed is to give you as much comfort as possible. I'm not quite sure how to proceed with the climb. There's the ledge right at my hip level, but I think I'm going to need my right leg for that. I don't remember how to choose between the limbs, so I need to check that really quick. Map controls. Spacebar, okay. Maybe let's first move our left leg a little bit. Like so, then left leg here. Starting to rain again, not ideal. Let's place our left hand here. Okay, let's chalk up as well, as it's raining once again. Now leg here, that's alright.
So close.
Yeah, you got this, Ava. Yeah, I'm going to get back to the topic of climbing shoes in a bit, after I'm done with this sort of harder section of the climb. Okay. Yeah, so the flat shoes, they're going to be your pretty much first type of shoes, I guess, because they're the cheapest ones and that you can get on the market. But of course, as they are the cheapest, they're going to offer the least amount of help and advantage when you're climbing, because of two things, as far as I can tell. The first one, they're flat, so they're not going to help you maintain good, what's the word for that? Good tension on your feet. You're going to have to work with your feet a bit more than you would on the professional climbing shoes. And also their soles are made of thicker rubber and rubber of rather poorer quality, and they're not going to stick to surfaces or to holes as good as the more expensive shoes. We pay tribute to Kami's fallen. Please remain silent. Oops, I shouldn't have brought up the topic right here. Let's look at who has fallen to the mountain.
Sometimes you come for the mountain, and sometimes the mountain comes for you.
Yeah, that's a sad truth about climbing or mountaineering in general. Plenty of people lose their life due to not enough preparation, not enough attention to their surroundings and such. You gotta prepare always when going to the mountains. Bag maniac. Okay, I think we need to find something to eat because our hunger grows quite exponentially. So let's just eat this protein bar or whatever that was, and of course throw away some trash. I think we can also eat this honey dipper right now. I don't think I need to use this burst at all, and we can actually use this opportunity to check what this mechanic is all about. So am I walking faster? I don't think so, at least I don't see any particular difference. So I guess we can continue climbing. We didn't struggle all that much on the previous section. I'm going to quickly investigate the rock face to see whether there are any hidden details right here. I don't think so, besides this part that we're going to visit anyway when we climb. There's one water source right here that we are going to use definitely, but all in due time. Yeah, so these shoes in general are comfortable, are cheap, and will give you a nice start into the climbing adventure, climbing into the climbing world. But if you plan on doing climbs that are harder, um, and if you plan to make it a regular thing of yours to climb, then you'll definitely want to get something better at some point. And what is something better are the shoes that can be placed in like this middle sort of category, the regular shoes or moderate shoe type. What this is about is, let me quickly focus maybe for a moment, because I'm on an overhang right now, and also I'm getting a message.
Guess he's back. I'm sure you miss me terribly. I know that you are the one doing all the work. I'm quite aware of that. But we're a team, and I do my part too. So don't forget about me, okay? Give me some news. Anything. I'm really not asking for much.
I'm not sure why did I go to the left here, no, to the right here, but that's okay. We can salvage the situation. Okay, slowly getting thirsty. Okay, so back to the topic of moderate climbing shoes. The moderate climbing shoes are going to change in quality quite a bit, I believe. And that's because you're going to see two main differences when it comes to what they offer. I think I'm going to place a piton. I'm going to go off belay for a moment. I saw Ava struggling a little bit, and I'm going to use this opportunity to talk a bit more about what the differences are. The first difference, the most major difference, is that you're going to notice a change in shape of the climbing shoe. And the shape is going to be more like a V shape, so the shoe is going to get a bit of a curve. Imagine if you take like a sheet of metal into your hands and you try to bend it downwards. You're going to see this sort of parabolical shape come up, and that's essentially how these more professional climbing shoes are going to look like. And what it does is actually it forces your feet into a specific position that makes you inherently have more tension in your feet. And what that does is it makes you stay on footholds quite a bit better, a bit easier than you would with like standard sport shoes, for example, if you chose to climb in like your regular Nikes or whatever. So yeah, if you don't have to manually force your feet into a specific shape, then of course that's going to make it a bit easier for you to climb. So that's what the huge advantage of better climbing shoes is. What else is that the rubber in the soles of more expensive shoes is going to be of higher quality, meaning that it's going to the quality of the rubber is going to stay better for longer periods of time, as well as it's going to stick a bit better to the wall and to the holes as well. So in comparison, I'm going to go off the light for a moment because I forgot she doesn't do that automatically. In comparison, when you try on those normal or those cheapest shoes and go on small footholds on routes that integrate smaller footholds, you're going to see that you aren't going to stick as good to those holds as you would in a better, more professional and more expensive climbing shoe. So you're going to hit a certain point when doing climbing regularly where you're going to be like, well, my cheap, flat climbing shoes are starting to fall off certain routes. And that's the point where you will have to decide on scrapping those shoes and changing them into something more expensive, something that's fit for a level or 2 levels higher than an amateur. So, like, I don't know, a moderate climber, a semi-professional climber, whatever you want to call that. I'm not really entirely sure myself. But yeah, either way, those are the shoes that are going to be sort of a step up in the climbing game. And what's more about those shoes actually is that at the top, or like at the front of the shoe where your toes would be, the more expensive shoes tend to go more into this like claw-like shape. So they tend to narrow down to your big toe. And what that does, once again, is actually to help you stick to smaller climbing holds, which is actually a tendency when climbing harder and harder climb grades. Yeah, eventually, the harder the climb is, the more likely it is for it to have smaller holes for your feet and for your hands as well. Okay, let's continue on with the climb. Let's try to figure out our way through. I think we need to traverse a little bit to the right, and we should be safe to go up here and then onto this small ledge. Is there anything else that I may mention regarding these shoes? Even though the rubber is of better quality, because of course you're going to pay more, so you expect higher quality, it actually is going to be thinner than those cheaper shoes. And there's actually an explanation for that. Why is that? That's because the thinner your soles are, the better you can sort of feel the rock and what you stand on. Okay, quick print screen because that's a nice view. I'm not going to go into the photo mode right now. Okay, and I lost context on what I was saying. Yeah, the thinner the sole of the shoe, the better you can feel the rock or the holes underneath your feet. So that makes you a bit more aware of what you're climbing, what you're standing on, and makes you feel a bit better what you can do in certain positions, in certain
Pigeons,
climbs.
please.
Yeah, and I think that's mostly it. And the last type of climbing shoe, according to my knowledge, is the most aggressive type of shoe. And they're going to differ from the previous type pretty much just in curvature. So they're going to be even more curved than the previous ones, making them also not suitable for climbs that are longer. So they force your feet into such tense positions that you aren't going to last long with those on your feet, honestly speaking. So their purpose is mostly for climbing quick sport routes and bouldering. But when, for example, when I talked about the multi-pitch climbing, you won't be happy with having such shoes there because, yeah, your feet are going to tire so much and are going to hurt after just like half an hour of climbing in them that you're going to be wanting to take them off pretty much. You won't want to climb in them any longer than like half an hour or so. Yeah, but because them being actually the best kind of shoes, of course they're going to offer you the most performance. So having those tense feet curves is going to allow you to climb routes that are hard overhangs where you really need to focus on body tension and body positioning. The shoe rubber is going to be of best quality, pretty much the best that you can get. But of course, for that quality, you will have to pay a nice deal of money. So this type of shoes, I wouldn't say it's for everyone. I myself am climbing for like 2 or 3 years already with those medium type shoes, so to say, and I do not really feel like there's any advantage of switching to the best and most professional shoes available. It's just not worth the money, honestly speaking. And considering that if you climb regularly, the shoes wear out quite hard, then you really don't want to invest into expensive climbing shoes that you then are going to have to replace after like 1 or 2 seasons of climbing, because that's just not cost effective at all. Yeah, and I mentioned already that they're quite uncomfortable, so you really want to have them on only when climbing specific routes that are short, because you won't stand climbing in them for longer periods of time. Okay, I have to move my mouse to the edge to see actually something. Okay, there are some scratch marks on the rock face. Judging by the size and the amount, it would probably be a bear. Also considering that in some previous episode we have heard Ava talk about birds. There's some trash to pick up. Piton scraps also. That's nice. I think I'm going to make a short break to grab a picture with the photo mode. Coming back in a second. Okay, and we're back. Took a couple of pictures. This is actually the very first game that I ever used photo mode in. So haven't really saw any need for that in any other game, but in this one I actually quite enjoyed. It's a very nice feature. And then what next? I don't think we can run jump actually, because it's quite far and I don't want to risk falling, so we're just going to rappel down. We're slowly running out of light, which isn't ideal, but we are close to a point where we can rest. And regarding the shoes, yeah, that was actually all regarding the type of climbing shoes, but there's also the there's also some other information or some other features that you may want to look out for, like for example the type of lacing, or how you close the shoes, how you tie the shoes, because climbing shoes offer a couple of options. The most often appearing one would be the straps, the Velcro straps. They're going to be pretty much the standard for you, and I wouldn't say that you need anything else than a shoe with straps, because they're going to be the easiest one to put on and put off whenever you need. And I don't think the type of lacing or closing matters in climbing, because why? Because yeah, I'm going to go into that in a moment maybe. Then you of course have the shoe lacing that you would normally have in any other shoes. So these are going to, well, give you the most control about how tight the shoes are on your feet, but at the same time they can get undone quite easier than the straps, and also are harder to get off, because yeah, you have to sometimes untie them from very tight lacing. Yeah, not ideal from my perspective. I myself would never buy lace-up shoes unless somebody convinces me that there's actually an advantage to it. I don't think so at the moment. There are also like those sleeper-like shoes, so you slip them on and that's it. You don't really have any other closure, but they're going to offer the least tightness to the shoes. Yeah, and that's pretty much all that you're going to be looking at when buying the shoes. Of course, when it comes to fitting the shoe, actually, that's quite an important piece of information. When you want to get yourself your own pair of climbing shoes, you're not going to be buying your usual size of shoes, because climbing shoes, however uncomfortable they are for you, they are built to be a bit uncomfortable, because you want them to be fitting your feet as much as your socks, pretty much. You want your climbing shoes to fit as if it were your foot, itself actually, because once again, that's what makes you that's what allows you to feel the rock, feel the footholds underneath your feet, and that will make you climb with more precision and more confidence as well. If you buy shoes that are too big for you, then the toe box of the shoe is going to curve up when you stand on smaller holes, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to have that happening because you're going to slip off smaller footholds way easier than if you had a shoe that fits your feet nicely. And in general, when you have your shoes, your normal shoes that you wear in a certain size, no matter what type of a shoe, then for climbing shoes, you may want to go down by half a size or a size. Yeah, in Europe at least it looks like that, because I don't know what the sizing of shoes is in America, for example. But in Europe, yeah, you have those options that you have a certain size, then you go down by half a size or one size. Professional climbers even go as far as reducing the sizing of climbing shoes by like two or three sizes of shoe, which makes their feet look like they're shattered pretty much, like if they were broken. But that's what takes them to the next level of performance. But for you, as a assumed person that doesn't do much climbing and will only do a certain amount of climbing that's not gonna make you a professional, half a size or one size less is going to be just fine. It's best to try on the climbing shoes in some sort of a climbing gear shop before buying. You don't want to buy them online because each producer, each manufacturer of the climbing shoes is going to offer a different range of sizes to their shoes actually. So one size is not equal to the same size in a different manufacturer's book. So watch out for that. Yeah, and I think I covered the topic pretty much well enough, at least for the sake of my brags about climbing. So we can now get ready to get some rest. Let's pick up this milk carton, goat milk. What's that? Some pictures. Okay, there's a backpack here, Cairn all. Let's pick it up and see what that is. Oh my backpack is almost fully covered with stuff. I'm willing to break my bones, scrape every part of my body, but I hope this spray doesn't sting. I hate stinging things. Okay, I get what that is. It's probably for disinfecting the wounds, which often comes with a price of the wound stinging quite well, quite much. Okay, we can fill up our chalk bag. We're going to have to cook something definitely here on this mountain. Let's see if we can find anything else in those tents. I don't think so. There's nothing here. We can also go up here before going for a rest. See what's up there. I don't want to waste time for that when we wake up. Come on, you can reach up already. Yeah, sure. As if you couldn't reach from the previous feet positioning. A small bottle of clear water. I don't think it's going to be useful for us. We can drink this up fully and maybe compost this bottle. I don't think we need more than one bottle, considering we have this water jug right there. A damaged recipe page from the book Grande Cuisine from Grand Summits. Every mountaineer who attempts to climb Kami knows this recipe. Stew that sticks to your ribs, perfect for gaining strength. Mix lentils with sweet tea. Oh, okay. And that's it.
They'll go up the mountain, but they won't give up an ounce of comfort.
What's in this cache? Instant noodles. Okay, I would actually love to have those on me. Let's see if we can organize our backpack a bit better. I want to do this manually because that's what offers the most amount of space, or at least the most optimal amount of space. Actually, just optimal. There's no such thing as most optimal, as optimal is already the best optimization you can get per definition. But enough about that. Let's look up here, what's up there. I think it's just a climbing section. There are those bare scratch marks here. There is some sort of a spot that we can visit here, and we will probably want to do that later. And on the other side, I think we also will have this sort of cable car or whatever that was. Yeah, right there. Probably some down climbing will be needed to get to it, but that seems like the plan for the next day. Okay, so we can go back to the camping spot and just get some food, rest up. Okay, I don't think I want to rappel actually, because this section was quite easy to climb. If I place my limbs correctly, of course. The light was blinking for a second there, which I presume is a sign that soon enough it's going to get so dark that climbing will be exponentially harder, most likely. Okay. Saving up and setting up the bivouac. So, for closing up of the episode, I think we're going to just cook up these mushroom. I hope it's not going to turn into a mushroom tea of some sort. Okay, cooked mushrooms, that's good. Let's eat them. I think we're also going to cook up the thistle, a magical plant when you cook it anyway, otherwise raw is not great. Now let's see what properties it has when it's cooked. 20 health, 10 hunger, and 40 of this still unknown symbol. I'm going to have to check it up in the internet and see what that is about, because it doesn't seem like the game is going to tell me otherwise. Okay, I seem to have lost the idea about the dandelion recipe. Last time it was appearing at the top right corner, what I could make out of something that I have already cooked. Oh, okay, I need to place it into the cooking spot. Okay, got it. Sorry for that, I forgot. Okay, let's also eat this cooked dandelion. I think that's it so far. I see we have an option to fill our water container with the nearby spring of water, which is useful. We don't need to go there by ourselves. Let's quickly check our tape. Excellent condition, excellent condition. Both hands are in excellent condition, so that's good. We can sleep now. Or, yeah, get ourselves an ab workout, why not? Okay, because the light is actually used up quite fast, I feel like I'm just going to leave the rest there. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and we're going to leave the episode right here. So thanks for joining and watching me perform in Cairn once again. It has been Avaleni Views for you, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye.